Good afternoon, ma'am. Can we start? Hello.
Sure, dear.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, esteemed faculty members, and dear delegates. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this afternoon session of the Balamanasam CME. In this session, we will be exploring the topic Integrative Management of Autism Spectrum Disorders, Bridging Conventional Care with Complementary Therapies. To guide us through this important discussion, we are privileged to have with us an eminent expert who has beautifully bridged traditional Ayurvedic wisdom with modern pediatric practice. It is a distinct honor to welcome Dr. Roshni Anirudhan, Professor and Head of the Department of Kaumarabhritya, Government Ayurveda College, Thiruvananthapuram. An alumna of the same institution, Dr. Roshni Anirudhan is a distinguished academician and clinician with a PhD in childhood autism and dual postgraduate degrees in Kaumarabhitya and Samhita and Siddhanta. With over 23 years of specialized clinical experience, she has emerged as a leading authority in the management of autism spectrum disorders and cognitive disabilities. Her contributions have been recognized at both state and national levels. She is the recipient of the prestigious Atreya Award for Best Doctor from the Government of Kerala and was honored as Best Project Coordinator for the Snehadara project, a flagship initiative for the Ayurvedic management of developmental disabilities. She was also the first runner up for the National Level Research Award for her work on cerebral palsy. Her extensive research work and experience as a resource faculty for numerous national and international seminars ensure that today's session will be both scientifically enriching and clinically inspiring. With great respect and admiration, we warmly welcome our own ma'am, Dr. Roshni Anirudhan, to lead this enlightening session. Welcome you, ma'am. Over to you to begin the session.
Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you, Dr. Pooja, for the intro. The department is highly uh, thankful and proud to have this number of delegates for a CME, that too online. The beauty of the online CME is that the knowledge could be shared and discussion could be made fruitful between the clinicians and academicians across the state. But the limitation is that as we are not seeing each other, how much it could be transferred to the delegates is a bit doubtful. But I will try my level best in doing the presentation. I have included more pictures and videos so that in this afternoon session, it won't be boring for you. So into that main topic, that is autism spectrum disorders. What we can do, what's the difference between that contemporary medical management and appreciating our level and knowing our lacunae and how we should patch up with that. So, autism spectrum disorder, even a layman knows about it now. Most enigmatic form of the disabilities in kids. It's a neurodevelopment disability with a prevalence rate of global prevalence in 132 kids, wherein the prevalence goes very high in socioeconomically or forward or developed countries. The leading prevalence of 1 in 59, now it's again 18. The prevalence is alarmingly rising. India is behind with 1 in 83. See the prevalence graph. It was 1 in 5,000 in 1970s. To the level that it is less than 1 in like 83 now. So It is a mandate of every KBN to know effectively how to manage this ASD. So we'll be dealing with the modern perspective in a glance, and we'll be focusing on the classical perspective. We all know that the biology of autism is basically it's a genetic defect. Many genes has been having its interplay in the manifestation of autism. It's not a single gene. That genetic pool study is still going on regarding the kids with autism. Structural and functional differences in the brain has been identified. Metabolic factors, metabolic derangements has been strongly associated with these kids with ASD. Many studies has come up, babies having higher metabolic issues are having more socio-behavioral issues than the other kids. Involvement of the immune system is also being discussed now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Visible.
It's visible.
Okay. And moreover, environmental factors are also playing a role in that. It's another good news that environmental factors has a role in that. Can also deteriorate the condition, and also we have a hope that we can alleviate the condition as well. So there are things which we can't alter like genetic factors. Pure alteration is impossible at now, but epigenetic modifications are possible. Structural and functional derangement of the brain should be addressed. But before addressing that, metabolic factors or metabolic correction, immune dysregulation, and environmental factors are causing the main burden of the disease. Sorry, my slide is not moving now. Yeah. Now coming to the brain pathologies, CNS pathologies, migration errors are there in the cerebral cortex development. So some way that brain development is erroneous in the antenatal period and later on under the age of 3 years. Involvement of amygdala, hippocampus, and corpus callosum has been discussed in a lot. Mini column hypothesis is the mirror neuron derangements are the neurotransmitter disturbances like serotonin, dopamine, melatonin, everything has been discussed. So it's an interplay between many issues, or it's a multifactorial causative causation in the disease pathology. So we'll see one by one. Regarding the metabolic factors, it has been said that, or the scientific researchers prove that intestinal mucosal barrier is compromised in these kids with ASD. It's not only ASD, many other diseases are having a compromised mucosal barrier, but this compromised nature is more noted in kids with ASD. Or to say that the prevalence of impaired mucosal barrier is around 70 to 80% in kids with ASD. So increased permeability is there. Means an undigested food matter is having an entry through the gut into the systemic circulation. Not all the food matter, especially tough to digest food material like gluten and casein. Casein is the milk protein. Is facing much difficulty to undergo the complete metabolic cycle, and so it is being there in the gut as semi-digested food matter. So the pathway digestion of this gluten is causing gliadomorphin, and the casein is called casomorphin. So this casein is a protein, so it is supposed to be digested and to such a level that it forms a simpler amino acids. But this digestive capacity is limited in these kids. So this casein is unable to get digested into simpler amino acids, and the intermediate metabolites like casomorphins are being formed, and which is not further metabolizing into simpler molecules. So these casomorphins or gliadomorphins are short-chain peptides, and they structurally mimic the opioid hormones. These undigested or semi-digested morphine-like structures are getting absorbed into the systemic circulation through this leaky gut, leaky mucosa. So we call that it's a gut leaking out. This opioid hormone-like structures in the systemic circulation has every ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, enter the brain, and cause a functional impairment. So it's not the sole cause of ASD, but these gut issues causing an indigestion can precipitate the ASD features. Or in long run, this functional impairment in long run can cause derangement in the functional and structural development of the brain in the younger ages, as the baby is undergoing fast development in the neuronal axis. This can also alter the serotonin neurotransmitter level, because the neurotransmitters are not alone produced by the brain, it's also produced by the gut microbiome. So altered neurotransmitter can as well reflect in the socio-behavioral challenges in kids with ASD. So as you all know, the clinical features is like parents identify the baby is something wrong by 1.5 to 2 years, and they tend to have the diagnosis after 2. Usually the main complaint is a deranged social interaction. The baby is unable to have a verbal communication, but non-verbally also the baby is not communicating. And above all, restricted and repetitive behaviors and interests are being noted in these kids. So there is a type of regressive type of autism is the baby will be supposed to be in the normal up till the age of 1.5 years, and then the parents say slowly the language development is slowing. Then child tends to repeat the memorized passages like advertisement taglines also. The baby will be repeating without any meaning, and the gaze to look at the objects are a bit distorted. They prefer to be alone, or like they can't express their emotions or like feelings. Like they can't say like I want water. Instead, if someone asks you, do you want water? They say it's like echolalia. You want water. They will repeat like. And pointing is also absent. So proprioceptive pointing that I need this one is absent in these kids. And nonsense jargon speech is also reported. This pointing is a main marker for early identification. These babies, they can't point out. Usually the proto-imperative pointing and proto-declarative pointing is there. Proto-imperative pointing is that pointing towards an object that I need that toy. Pointing towards the desired. Proto-declarative is that baby will share something. Mama, see how the crow is flying over there? So that is declarative. Both these pointings are absent. So the proto-imperative pointing is mandate, and it should develop by the age of 8 to 10 months. So the socio-behavioral main problems are little or no eye contact, lack of peer relationship. They doesn't want to be cuddled, or excessive seeking of sensory impulses, maybe ignoring people, considering it's like objects. Some kids love to be in an aloof manner, sustained, odd play. That's a different play style for them. Sleeping issues are the stereotyped hand movements, rocking movements, flapping movements, everything. Insistent on sameness, resistance to change, unexplainable temper tantrums. Sometimes self-injurious behavior are also noted in these kids. So these creates actually parents are usually worried what is going problematic in this child. Let us see some of the, because as this is a syndrome, not every child responds or behaves in the same way. Every autistic child is unique because they have their own syndromic presentation. Unlike any other disease, every child demands a unique management style as well. So, we should have a capacity to analyze each child, tailor the management protocol for each child in their own way. See how he is responding. He has found his favorite dress in that cupboard, and so he's too much excited. See how he is showing his excitement while seeing. He's not pulling up the clothes. Instead, he is showing some odd body mannerisms, which is supposed to be some abnormal according to the parents. See another kid. He doesn't like to be mingled with the other siblings. He is in the room alone, thumb sucking, turning around, making some sound. He's not actually crying. He's just howling. Parents doesn't know whether he is happy, whether he is sad, whether he needs something. When they go and take the baby, but he is again irritated. He is rolling on the ground. See another kid with hand flapping movements. He is there on the back of the door.
Yeah, come here.
His parent is calling him. Obediently, he is coming. Standing there. But see, he is going back.
Wait.
He is coming. He is coming to his papa.
Come here.
Come here. He is coming. But he is not waiting for the command. He is not even looking for the papa. He is going back.
You want to go sleep? Wait.
Now the papa knows that he has some difficulty. So he is the usual command which the time demands is go to sleep. So he is very happy that he got the command and he is going to sleep. But papa is saying wait, but he can't wait because he got the command and is going. Some robotic like actions are being depicted over this basis. So symptom domains associated with ASD is like they have a speech and communication defect, as I told earlier. They can't speak out, and non-verbally also they can't express out. Repetitive behavior, with this repetitive stereotypic behavior, they feel so happy. They are disturbed if we break in between. Socially, they don't know how to interact with the kids, with other kids or their parents. Social phobia is also there. Into the crowd, they are more distracted. Some are more hyperactive, or fleeting attention is also there. So ADHD-like features are usually associated with ASD. Not every time, but there are kids. Many exhibit EEG abnormalities as well. Impulsivity, aggression, OCD-like features, language issues are always associated. So early pointers as like pointing defects, impairment in receptive language. The baby is not understanding our conversation. That's a receptive language error is the best identified early pointer. Though an expressive language is very common, if a baby is presenting you with a receptive language impairment, baby can't identify or baby can't understand what mama is speaking. Maybe he's intelligent enough to know the usual commands. So be careful while evaluating the child. Baby can't understand the essence of a simple story or anything like that, a long conversation, if the baby is not comprehending. have a second look on the baby. Losing any language skills or social skills in any age, absence of a social smile, inability to maintain an eye contact, everything should be dealt with the caution. Don't label every child like autistic. Maybe it's a reflection of any other genetic abnormalities in that child. Or maybe a seizure disorder affecting the brain will be reflecting as a socio-behavioral issue in the child. Like Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. It's an intractable epilepsy. Epilepsy will be there and the socio-behavioral decline and language decline will be there. So every time, don't take it easy that every child with presenting all these symptoms are ASD. So have a look at the EEG. Maybe it's a metabolic disorder. Metabolites getting deposited in the brain and manifesting as a behavioral issue. So have a look on the metabolic screening. If needed, have an MRI. But it's never a mandate. Neurotransmitter levels can be assessed if it's some research-oriented studies or something more of academic interest. As I told, many genetic defects are associated with ASD features. So the child in front of you presenting with an ASD feature may be a Fragile X, maybe a Prader-Willi, or some other disease, maybe a tuberous sclerosis, or have a hidden other disease behind. So be careful about ASD is actually only a symptom, like something background, a disease is underlying. And also have an eye on the lead levels as well. Increased lead levels are also associated with socio-behavioral issues. So regarding the symptomatic screening, I'm underlining the word symptomatic screening. Regarding the symptomatic screening, we do rely on more on MCHAT or Trivandrum Autism Behavioral Checklist. Screening tool is very important because we need to identify these kids with this abnormal behavior as early as possible, because early intervention is the hallmark in the management of such disorders. So early picking out the kids with this as early as possible is a crucial intervention. So here in our department, we do train the Anganwadi teachers, because Anganwadi teachers are the first learned persons who are handling these kids. So teaching this each and every parent is impossible. So we do train the Anganwadi teachers to screen their kids regarding these ASD features. And Trivandrum Autism Behavioral Checklist is a regionally adapted checklist by Dr. N.K.C. Nair sir of Trivandrum Medical College. So we use it very regularly in our department, and also we train the Anganwadi teachers of Trivandrum district along with this. So once it turns positive, once the score is above 35, it's a scoring screening tool. The lowest score is 20 and the highest is somewhere like near 60. So as soon as it turns positive, that is any kid above 35, her score is supposed to be screened, supposed to be referred to a higher center for any other intervention if needed. We can also use MCHAT revised, which is easily downloadable, freely downloadable in the net. This is the download picture which you can net. It's a 20 score questionnaire scoring. So MCHAT score, this is a format also given with that. Usually yes or no questions are there, so it's very easy to pick it out. It needs hardly 3 to 4 minutes to complete the scoring. So any child having a total score more than 3 is advised to have a revised MCHAT screening within a short after 1 month. Then if the score is above 8, it's better to have a immediate referral. So importance of screening tools in ASD should be highlighted. Then coming to diagnosis. When the baby is coming to us, an expert desk, we can use tools like DSM-5 criteria or a CAR score, Childhood Autism Rating Score, or ISA is more suitable for Indian kids, I think. for diagnostic purposes. We also use autism treatment evaluation checklist, though it's not a diagnostic tool. These tools, which I told here, like CAS and ISA, is done by a psychologist or a learned person. But to reflect the day-to-day changes or a monthly change when the baby is having the second visit to us, we need to have a crispy evaluation from the parents as well. So, as this is a psychological derangement regarding the behavior, the words of the parents are counted most important. So, I usually rely on autism treatment evaluation checklist, which is a parental checklist. It is a freely downloadable app also for that. It's called ATEZ. That app is called A for autism, T for treatment, E for evaluation, and C for checklist. ATEZ. You can freely download that app and teach the parents to evaluate it during every visit. That's also very useful. So the approach is essentially integrated. Medical management should go there. Parental training is an inevitable part of the management, and the complementary therapies like speech therapy, behavior therapy, occupational therapy, and music therapy are also very effective. Many other therapies are yoga and all are having reflecting its effect, but speech, behavior, and OT are the standardized treatment packages. Now coming to the Ayurvedic perspective of ASD. Agnimadhyam is the main reason, as I told, that there's a impaired metabolic problem which is going on in the child. So the baby is having an impaired gut microbiome. So Agnimadhyam is inevitable. So for the disease to manifest, it's basically, as I told, it's basically a genetic disorder. So Alpasatvada, that's a key point here. Alpasatvada has to be developed genetically. So genetically means it may be a contribution from the Mata Pitra Sattva. Then Garpini Sruti, Antarvatnya Srudescha Bhishna. The psychological experiences by the pregnant lady, the stress and strain which the pregnant lady undergoes, everything has its impact on developing the sattva of the child. And some unexpected mishaps can happen, like de novo mutations can also happen. So it may be counted as swakarma. And also certain abhyasas, or like after the baby is born, excessive screen time for the baby, like a term called virtual autism is also popping up now. So all these Mata Pitra Saptam, Garpani Sruti, this de novo mutations, impaired environmental factors, deranged parenting, everything is contributing to Alpasatvada of the baby. Also, I was trying to say that Alpasatvada is a mandate for exhibiting the disease or for the disease to develop and manifest. So, Alpasatvada precipitated by Ahidaha Annapana, Alpasatvada precipitated by any disease conditions, precipitated by Visha or Upavisha, precipitated by mental agonies, can all result in Unmada. So, what is Ahita Annapana? Ahita Annapana is the ahara which is not suited for that particular child. The ahara should be coinciding with the Agni Bala. If the baby is having a deranged Agni Bala, the mama doesn't know that the baby is having a deranged Agni Bala. So the mama may be feeding the baby as normal, like filling the katori full and pressurizing the baby to feed it up. So unknowingly, we are giving an Ahida or Amita. So again deranging the Agni status, because baby is unable to reflect that he doesn't need that much food. So Ahita Annapana, actually it's a contributing factor. or precipitating factor above this alpha sattva. That is how the Unmada Samprapti is told. Any disease can precipitate, maybe an infectious disease like meningitis, encephalitis, or many like seizure disorders, which has an encephalopathy, can manifest like these features. So it's like a vyati precipitating the disease. Visha can also precipitate, like as I told, lead toxicity or many other toxins or metabolic disorders having the metabolic deposit in brain, which should be counted as Visha. It's also deranging that status. And excess antibiotic use has also been seen associated with this ASD. So everything should be counted in that level. Mental agonies or impaired parenting skills, everything has been counted under this head. So all these, it's a sum up or sum total of all these factors which is leading to Unmada. That is, we are losing, or the child is losing the mental control over the body functions. He doesn't know how to behave. He doesn't know his perception, the indriyas and indriyarthas, indriya is not perceiving the indriyarthas properly. So the jnana prakriya is getting defect. Even though he is hearing well, his hearing ability is very nice, he is hearing your sound, but he cannot understand what you are speaking. So there is an impaired perception. Indriya is not able, the Sravanendriya is not able to comprehend the speech. Similarly, every Indriya is finding difficult to comprehend and interpret that Indriyarthas. So there's a perceptive errors as well, which is going on parallelly. So it's not only a socio-behavioral issues, it's a perceptive error as well. So the autistic symptoms can be, I was trying to classify it under the head of Unmada because the etiology and symptomatology are almost matching. So I would say that autism spectrum disorder could be told as Bala Unmada. There was a core conference in All India Institute of New Delhi regarding that nomenclature of this ASD. So it was decided that ASD should be nominated as, should be said as Bala Unmada, as it well collides with that, parallelly goes with that etiology and symptomatology of Unmada. So according to that, it should be classified into 3 types. The more Vada predominant type, Pitta predominant type, and Kapha predominant. Why we should classify ASD into 3? Because we have to frame the treatment protocol according to that. So those kids who are so hyperactive, running around, constantly running, having very consistent stereotypic activities, echolalia, frequent utterance of uncontrolled sounds, inappropriate laughing, excessive smiling, singing, and self-play, producing sounds like inanimate objects like various instruments, cooing, lack of discrimination between useful and other things. Babies are a bit weird, as in the second video. While I was showing the video, the second video could be correlated in such level. Highly repetitive stereotyped hand and eye movements could be counted as Vadika symptoms. Kids with highly impatient, reluctant, intolerant, anger, temper tantrums, and violent aggression, self-injurious, hurting others. Shita Kami, they like very cold. Water play is a favorite thing for them. Excessive body heat, distress while having an excess environmental temperature, everything is having more to have Pitta symptoms. This Kabacha type of ASD kids, they usually sit aloof. Parents say that they are not a problem kids. He is very quiet, he is manageable, he don't create any problem. Only thing that he don't speak and he don't mingle with other kids. They are sitting aloof. They sit alone, play with their toys. Actually, they don't know how to play with the toys. They line it up excessively, less babbling, speech and body gestures are very less. They are usually clumsy. They usually lie down in a they like to have a blanket around them. They are often sleepy, drooling frequently, drooling a saliva, puffy face. They usually doesn't like food, but they feel like that the stomach is full. Dislike of bathing, toileting, everything is found in Kabaja types. We can't say that one child is typically of Kabaja or typically of Vatiga alone. It's a dosha samsarga sannipada which is happening, but we should evaluate that how much Vata dominant is that or how much Kapha dominant is that. So, viewing it from an Ayurvedic platform, autism is a neuropsychiatric disorder with a somatic etiology. Even though the socio-behavioral issues are reflected, it's essentially a disease having a somatic etiology. This alpa sattva, all these nidana and samprapti is having it taking is happening in the body and reflecting in the socio-behavioral pattern. So how to manage? Manage the body first and then the mind. So concerns in an Ayurvedic platform is like starting from the main reason. Impaired acne, so should be targeted first. This impaired acne is causing the defective digestion and metabolism. Due to this impaired acne, this undigested or semi-digested food, as I told earlier, this gliadomorphins and casomorphins, that's partly digested food material, is being deformed actually. It's not getting transformed into finer particles. So I would say that presence of semi-digested food means ushmano alpabalattvena thadu madhyam apachita. So I say it can be called as ama. A gamma, which is formed in the koshta, is tending to have a systemic absorption due to this gut leaking. So, entering into the systemic lymphatic circulation. So, I'll say that ama is tending to have a kadugata root. So, once a rasadhadu is sama, then the possibility of other dhadus to have a samatva is very much. So, it is this samavastha is altering the structural and functional maturation of all these dhadus, whichever it goes. Again, creating to an imbalance of tridoshas, mostly vata predominates, because all the dhadus are in the phase of its development, its crucial development. It's a childhood age, under the age of 3 years. So, this crucial age of development of these dhadus are impaired. So, a dhadu kshaya avastha is happening, naturally causing to a dhadu kshaya vada vikara. So, naturally, an impaired functional level of mind is also being carried over there. This rasadhatu already reflected in manasika bhavas, and later on other dhadus are also involved. This maja dhatu, mastulanga maja, everything is being involved over there. And also improper perceptive skills that I told earlier, jnana ulpati is not happening perfectly. Incoordinated functioning of manas and sharira is being manifested. So how to manage? Management protocol should be to improve the digestive and metabolic functions. Initially, that should be our cornerstone. So Agni Dibana should be the prevent the gut leaking as much as possible, because that is the main reason behind. Even though Alpa Sattva is there, all this gut leaking is contributing to that pathology or precipitating that pathology. So correct acne first and do an acne dipana. From now onwards, don't let any undigested or semi-digested food particle to create an amatwa inside or cross the gut leak, cause the gut barrier and into the systemic circulation. So, gut Agni Dipana should be the diet should be very strict. The diet should be of very lekhu brahmanahara. Avoid all guru ahara and all adimatra ahara. Excessive quantity of diet should also be restricted, because these kids are usually having munching attitude. As I told earlier, there's a perceptive error in all the sensory, all indriyas. So they don't feel satiety. They will have a munching attitude. Many kids, like, they tend to munch a lot. They like very crispy, crunchy things. Like, they even though their stomach is full, they crave for that crunchy, crispy things. So snack, they are usually the best snackers. So again, it will be precipitating this amavastha. So be very strict on the diet. And so as we know that already this amavastha has accumulated in the dhadus as well, along with the koshta. So this ama which has accumulated in the dhadus should be considered as amavisha. So we have to do pachana of this dhadukata ama, and after doing the pachana, we have to do a snehana, then svedana, and slowly bring it to the back to kushta, and then do a vireja. So we started with the deepana, then advised a pathya diet for the baby, then targeting at the dhadukata ama, we plan for pachana, then snehana and svedana to bring it back to the kushta, and then do a kushta chodana, mostly with the virechana. Then after doing this, we should target at the doshic in equilibrium. That is, if it's a Vata dominant ASD or Pitta dominant ASD, we should manage that dosha dominance accordingly. Sthanika chilsa should be given due importance, because that Mastulanga Macha or Gadishtana, even though it's in Kostam, it is causing an impairment in the functional structural stability of the brain. So Sthanika chilsa like Murta Tailas, Nasyas, everything should be given due importance. And also Nitya Abhyasa is a part and parcel of this Sattva development. So behavior therapy, speech, everything should be is well included in the Ayurvedic management. Nitya Abhyasa is the complementary therapy which is told in Ayurveda. Or in turns it can be told as Sattva Vajaya Chilsa as well. But Sattva Vajaya means the child Sattva is not that well developed so that he couldn't identify that I am doing bad, I should restrict my feelings. So it is like training the child how to do that. It is behavior therapy. So concerns in Ayurvedic platform is mainly that Agni Mandya. So what we should do is Agni Deepana, Amapajana, Srodoshodana, and we should tackle the Rasadhatu Dushti and then only focus on the Mastishka share. So Agni Mandya. Is it okay? Everything okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So starting from Agni Mandya correction, please examine the koshta of the baby. Do elicit the symptomatology of the koshta derangement. The symptomatology of koshta derangement can be entirely different from the dosha involvement in autism. That is, if the baby may be having Paitika autistic features, but his koshta may be Vadika. So it can be contradictory. So do examine the koshta first and then do a koshta correction. So treating the Agni Mandya, plan the feeding schedule. I do usually restrict all Guru Aharas and heavy food to digest. I do increase the physical exercise of the baby. Ask the parents to take him for a walk or make him go cycling or any other physical activities, more with occupational therapy or more play activity, so that his energy spending capacity is triggered, which in turn Vyayama is actually contributing to the Agni Bala of the child. Two sides of the coin are there. Vyayama is contributing to the Agni Bala, and also Vyayama is providing an opportunity for the child to interact with the society as well. So plan the feeding schedule, have an advice on the Vyayama, then have an advice on the therapies of the child. So check his sleep pattern. Usually these kids love to sleep in the daytime and wake up in the night. That's usually because the diurnal rhythm is disturbed due to this impaired neurotransmitter status and all. So train them to have a normal sleep according to the diurnal rhythm. Train the parents as well. and your medicines can also help in that. So treat Agnimandia accordingly. Like Kabaja Agnimandia can be treated with Hingvashtaga, Vaishwanara, or Vilwadilehya, or Paitika Agnimandia, and the same protocol, nothing different. Rajanya, Avipatti, Guluchi is the best Dhamapajana. Can also, Sudarshana can also be done in that. And also think of a Krimi Koshta there when you are managing the Agnimandia, because it's an Agnimandia for a long run. It's not a recent Agnimandia which is happening. So the chance of Kabacha Krimi and Krimi Koshta will also be there. So should address that Krimi also in while managing the Agnimandia. And also address the Ama Visha or Gara Visha accordingly. So Pajana, after giving the Pajana drugs, do have at Snehasveda and Shodhana. But every child is not a Shodhana Arha. So drastic classical Shodhanas are contraindicated, and Mridu Shodhanas frequently and repetitively can be planned according to the age and the disease. So Kalyanaka Krita Yoga. Kalyanaka, this is the yoga of Kalyanaka Krita told in Ashtanga Hridaya Unmada Pratisheda. Here in Kerala, we use it very regularly in the form of a decoction. The yoga or a combination is very beautiful, and it's indicated for, though it is directly indicated for Unmada, it is not a simple yoga which can cure the Unmada. The way it cures that disease is very particular. The combination is like, it's a broad spectrum drug. The drugs are basically Kapavadahara. The drug is indicated to have its cure in Agnimandia, Pandu, Moham, and it is said to be Pushtida. So any drug having a result in Agnimandyam is a Deepana drug. Having a result in Pandu is again causing Deepana, Pachana, and Rasada. It's again Pushtidan also. So it has the capability of gut correction. And it is, the Balasruti, it is told that it's Pandakushte Vishe Shoshe Mehe Mohe Gare Jware. So Visham, Garam are indicated in the Balasruti. So the ability of that combination to have a detoxification should also be discussed. It's indicated in Shobha and Prameha, which are diseases with very profound Srodorotha. So the drug may be having a Srodoshodhana capabilities. And see, the drug indication is in Apetasi, Skalatvaji, Smridikame, Devopakada Chedasi, Unmada Basmara. So spectrum of diseases this yoga covers is mainly cognitive behavioral disorders. And also the beauty of the drug is it is indicated in Papma, that is, see, a yoga which is indicated for diseases occurring due to Papa. Have you seen any other yoga which is indicated in having such an indication? It's not so common. So it is Papmanut, Mangalyam, Saubhagyam. These are all words which is having a link with Deva Vipasare Chikitsa as well. Because it's something unexplainable prabhava, it is maybe the drug is happened. Belyam, Ayushyam, Kandidam are all immunomodulatory reflectors. So this broad spectrum drug is supposed to target at the cognitive behavioral axis of any person, working through the Agnimandia, correcting the Srodoroda, detoxifying the system, and then tackling the cognitive behavioral disorders. So the yoga, the combination was very classically utilized in ASD management, and if usually in the initial phases of the disease, the child will be having so much Agnimandia. So the Kalyanaka Krita yoga is usually contraindicated. Snehana is only indicated when the Agni is very much good. So in the initial situations, we do convert the yoga into decoction, and it is widely used in the management of these diseases, Kalyanaka Kashaya or decoction. So it is having a Deepana Pachana property, and also it's detoxifying and also having a mridu rechana property as well. So usually these autistic kids are can be broadly classified into Vata Kapacha type and also Vata Paitika type. As I told earlier, Vata is an inevitable component in the manifestation of such diseases. So I would like to classify it more like Vata Kapacha means they are, as I told earlier, they are like solitary players, they are aloof, they are calm, they are clumsy, they don't interact with others. They are like sensory avoiders, I would say that. They doesn't like to be cuddled, doesn't like to be touched, doesn't like to be kissed. So they are usually sensory avoiders. They do avoid bright light, bright sound, everything they will avoid. The other type is Vada Paitika is highly irritable, highly angry child running here and there around, injured with temper tantrums, self-injurious patterns, howling there, and everything is Vada Paitika type. So I tried to frame a protocol with this broader classification. We had conducted a study in our department to frame a questionnaire to plot out which type of to classify in which type of autism a child is belonging to. The study is completed and we hope it will be published in the journal very soon. So it's a very short questionnaire framed so that you can derive in which category an ISD child in front of you will belong to. So as I told earlier, we will start with Dipana Pajana and then go for a Shamana drug. Then after doing this Dipana Pajana and then only or a Mridu Shodhana, then we can proceed to a Snehana. Then every time Snehana as Krita is given the first preference every time. So as this Vata Kapacha type demand more Tikshna, Ushna, Krudas, Panchakavya, Mahat Panchakavya, Mahapaishajika, everything comes under this. This Vata Paitika variety demands Kruda like Tiktaga, Kushmanda Swarasa, Karaskara and all. So it is like a dosha. All this indicated in Unmada, but according to the dosha, we can classify it into both. It's not according to the dosha alone. Maybe the spectrum of diseases covered in that yoga should also be addressed. As it's a CME, online CME, I would like to classify it broadly like this. If you can, we can have time for interaction, we will try to detail it much more. Similarly, Murtha Thailam also classified into Vata Kapacha type like Sutta-Bala, Vacha Leshanadi, Tripaladi, everything in the Vata Kapa spectrum. And the Vata Paitika where Bala Hadadi, Kshira Bala, Vatashini, Chandanadi, everything goes in that line. So that is about selection of Snehanas. I'll have a quick click on this Kritas. Though I told that Kalyanaka is having very much Srodoshodhana and very much suit for this condition. Mahakalyanaka is not like that. Mahakalyanaka is, the drugs are a bit different and Acharya has added more Vata Pitta Shamana drugs to the combination of Kalyanaka and made it Mahakalyanaka. And the Palasruti is like Brahmanam Sannipadaknam Purvasmad Adigam Gune. So it is like Srodoshodhana abilities are a bit minimized and it is Brahmana. So means this Mahakalyanaka Kruda can be indicated only when this Srodoshodhana has been attained with another medicines. So this can be utilized for a Rasayana therapy as well. Similarly, Tiktaga. Tiktagam is a wonderful Gruda which can be utilized for managing the Paitika spectrum or Vata Paitika spectrum of this ASD. Not only ASD, can also be utilized for the management of ADHD, as Dr. Sopni was discussing very deeply on Tiktaga Gruda. The main indication comes along with all Rakta Pradoshaja Vyadis, Rakta Pitta, Udagavasrodas, Pandu Kamala and all. So Unmada also comes in that spectrum. So any disease or any ASD having more of inflammatory pathologies, more of inflamed gut, more of baby having like more Pythika, tending to have a Pythika pragrya or Pythika manifestations can be well dealt with Tikta. Because Tiktam is actually the best Amapajana rasa, and coupled with these drugs, it is having a very good very good reflection or management, can very effectively manage these systemic inflammatory markers and also this uh, CBD with the Pythika spectrum. Again, coming to Kushmanda Swarasa Krudas, it is a very simple yoga with only two drugs in that, that is Kushmanda Swarasa and HT Churna. But don't underestimate the result of this yoga. It's very effective in managing so behavioral issues, that too on the Pythika spectrum. More temper tantrums, more unreasonable tantrums, self-hurting, injurious behaviors can also be dealt with this. But as I told earlier, it's bit having on the, it's on the Brahmana aspect. So complete the Srodoshodhana phase before giving this Krita. Again, Panchagavya Krita. Panchagavya Krita. Panchagavya Krita is Panchagavya, that combination actually is very wonderful, having very much Srodoshodhana capabilities. So it's not in only in human trial, even in veterinary medicine and also in what you call agriculture, it is being utilized very well. So the Srodoshodhana or assimilative capabilities of the system gets exponentially triggered with this Panchagavya Krita. So it's a powerful Srodoshodhana drug to be included in managing Kapaja type. But as I told earlier, Mahat Panchagavya is having a different spectrum of action. And do also include Dhanvantara Krita in the management, because I don't find it in the usual prescriptions. Dhanvantara Krita is told in the Prameha Adhikarana, but in the Kapacha Prameha Adhikarana it is told, that is Kapacha Prameha tending to have a Thadukshaya and manifest as a neurological symptom. There it is told. So any metabolic errors having its management as a Thadukshaya, having its glucose as Thadukshaya, this is the best drug of choice over that. So it's basically indicated in Vadika type, but it's very, very promising drug. So other systemic management like Nasya, Tala, Vasti, and also Rasayana is should be a part and parcel of this management schedule. Nasya, as you all know, that Tikshna Nasyas are very much indicated in Vata Kapaja types, and also that Shira Bala, Shira Guluchi, everything is very good for Pythika type. Takradhara, very effective in Vata Kapa type, and Shiradhara very much in Vata Pythika type. Though we can alter the property of this Takradhara with Pittashamana drug, but typically in this it is having a Srodoshodhana and Kabhara properties. So best suit for that Vata Kapaja. Shiro Lepa in Pythika and Shiro Panaha in Kapaja. So similar is the Tala. Vasti. Vipanchamuladi is my favorite drug of Vasti option in Vata Kapaja, and Bala Mustadi Raja Yavana is for Pythika. Similarly, Vachata Kara and all can be utilized. Taila Lashuna can be used as Rasayana in the Kapacha type, while Ishti Madhu, Shankapushpi could be thought more in Vata Pythika. This is just video photos you are all familiar with. Just as I heard a few doubts regarding the Takradhara in the previous session, I thought I will include this slide as well. Takradhara is usually can be done the head alone and head and body. While handling these kids with sensory processing disorder as well, we do prefer to do it in the head and body. By altering the drug for processing this kashaya, we can alter the dosha management in Takradara. Like if you are managing a bit, as I told earlier, Takradara is typically having a Srodoshodhana, Vata Kabahara property. But if you need to tailor it for a hyperactive case, still you need a Srodoshodhana, better go for HT Shanku Pushpi Chandana and all. Or include Amalagi Guluchi Ashwagandha and all. In Kabaja type, we need to potentiate it with more Kabaja drugs. Do process it Varanadi. Satya Stabana Gana is very efficient and we are working very well with that. Vacha Musta is also giving very much results when this ASD is coupled with intellectual disability as well. So I was trying to narrate that altering the drugs used in Takradara or any procedure-based therapy can alter the dosha target and also potentiate the effects as well. So this is the Takradara happening, head and body. One will be doing the head and the other will be doing the body as well. Shiradara, and also you can do it in head and body as well. I won't be detailing this Bala Saholadi Shiroleba because it's having a classical narration in Unmada Adhikarana in Arogya Raksha Kalpadrama. Use very intensively. It's having very promising results. As Dr. Sohini Madam was elaborating that, I think I will skip that. So a bit alteration of this Bala Sohaladi. I would like to alter it with Bala with Brahmi because Bala Sohaladi is more suited for conditions of Vada Paitika, Vata Kabaja type, and Vada Paitika type, this Brahmi Sohaladi is more effective. So effective Brahmi Sohaladi Shiroleba in ASD. I'm having a paper. Please, if you like to have a detail about that, you can search it in the publication. This is the Bala Sohaladi Shiroleba happening. This butter in room temperature is taken. It's well mixed in an earthen pot because this is a part of dehumidification of the Shiroleba. There shouldn't be much water content in that. Otherwise, the baby will be getting cold or something like that. So dehumidify the butter, mix it very well and make it fluffy and frothy. Then only mix it very well so that it forms into a smooth paste and the excess water is reabsorbed. Then the Bala and Sohala is made into a smooth paste and the powders are added. And this butter is mixed along with that, uniformly mixed very well, and again the lepa is made into a very sticky consistency. This can be directly applied on the scalp as lepa, or we prefer the application like this, continuously applying on the scalp like this. This is found to be having more effective clinical efficacy than the stagnated Shiroleba. So we usually prefer this. For sleep disturbances and all, you can tie it on the scalp like this as ordinary Shiroleba, cover it with a lot of sleep and keep it like this. But if the child is too hyperactive and too like that, the other continuous Shiroleba is having more clinical results. Regarding Shiro Upanaha, you can also do like this. Shirupanaha is actually, Shiroleba I was narrating for Vata Paitika type, but Shirupanaha is on the other extreme. It is more Ushna, Tichna and all. It's a type of Sweda for the head. So it is like the drug selection will be more having Tichna Methya drugs will be selected for that. So Vacha, Shadahwa, Devadaru, Rasna, Jadamanzi, Everything will be selected. You can go for HT Madhu as well. Fine powder will be there. A bit of Thanyas having this Lekushna property should also be selected. So Masha, Eva, Kola, Kulata, everything are selected, powdered very well. And Musta Takra is usually used. Prabhuda Amla Takra is used because we are trying to impart a Snehana, Svetana to the head. So Amlatva should be more. So Prabhuda Amla Takra is used. That is how, like if we prepare Takra one day, the next day once the Takra is set in, we keep the powders in that Takra for one more day. So the Takra is much more getting Amla the next day. So one day we'll be keeping the powders in the Takra so that the Takra will be ferment for one more day and make Prabhudamla. So, and covered it with Erandapatra. See, it is covered with Erandapatra. So this, for potentiating the Ushnata of the Siropanaha, it can be done like this as well. Dipping again in Musta Takra and a Mrudu Potali Sveta with this Upana. As I told earlier, from the stagnated Siropanaha, this is having more clinical results. Again, we have selected this for a PG research study in our department, and it is coming out with very promising results. Why should we include Nasya and as a part of management? Nasya, as it's, though the paranasal sinuses are not developed, we are not aiming at the sinus clearance as well. We are aiming at something very different. The drug in contact with the cilia of these olfactory cells, its active components making changes in the electrical potential of the brain and all. So bringing about changes in the neurotransmission, neural plasticity, that's our aim through the Nasya. It's not like something like detoxification or clearing the sinus. So essentially we'll include other Mana Nasya as well, which we will discuss later. Talam. Talam is a miniature form of Shirolepa, which is a very baby-friendly procedure, which we can do even the baby is sleeping as well. Vada Pitta Shamana talams are used in Vada Paitika type, and the other Tikshna talams are used in the Kapacha type as well. Again, Matravasti should also be a part of this treatment package. The selection every time when we are planning for a procedure-based therapy, the drug we select forms the cardinal point in that. So Kritam can also be used for doing Matravasti. Tiktakam Kalyanagam, Brahmi Kalyanagam. Brahmi Kalyanaga Krida is very much available in Kerala, where this Kalyanaga Krida is potentiated with Brahmi Swara. Usually Kalyanaga Krida is being processed in plain water. Here Brahmi Swarasa, the Kalyanaga Yoga is potentiated in Brahmi Swarasa. So it forms a wonderful combination of Brahmi along with this very Srodashodhana Kalyanaga Yoga. So Brahmi Kalyanaga Kridam is especially having an indication in ASD and also associated with global development delays and IEDs. It's very effective. So similarly, other Kridams can also be used for Matravasti as well. So coming with another perspective of autism is this, as I told, that perceptive defects. Baby is not perceiving the Indriyartha, Sannikarsham is not happening well. Indriyartha, Indriya, Samanaskena Gruhyate Atma. So this knowledge has to come from the contact with an Indriyartha, Indriya, then has to have a contact with Manas, and then the Buddhi is deciding whether it is good or not, and this knowledge imparted from the Buddhi is said to the Atma. So this processing is not happening very nicely, so we call it as a Jnana Utpadaka Pradipat. So 7 senses has been identified in ASD in kids, but though we do identify only 5 senses in modern visual sense, auditory sense, gustatory sense, olfactory sense, olfactory sense,
Ma'am, there is some technical issues.
So it's network issues there.
just sorry, my internet connection got disrupted in between. I will be sharing the slide. Hope I didn't skip much. My PGs were very nearby, so they intimated duly. So we'll start with this. So regarding this proprioceptive sense is regarding the position, how we position the body. Hope the entire slide is visible now. Okay. How we position the body. These kids do position the body of their the head. For all these senses, they have set. Net connection is feeble. If it gets disrupted much more, I'll change the net connection. Okay. So the defective posturing or positioning of the body is being here addressed here. Many of my patients, they do love if the head is kept down like ulta. They do love that posture, so they climb very high and tend to jump up from that posture. And again, vestibular senses are also disturbed in these kids. They like swinging, they like climbing high, jumping down from higher. And certain others, like proprioceptive senses kids, they do like to have deep pressure massages. They love to have cuddled very tightly, or they in turn also they touch the other kids very in much pressure, the other kids, but they will get hurt and they are very disturbed. So what they perceive from the senses are erroneous, so naturally they will be transmitting an erroneous message to other society as well. So that is Indriya Pradoshaja Vyadis, it should be considered. So there are managing techniques for such sensory processing disorder. It should be considered in the level of deranged vata as well. So there are certain toys which do engage them as well. The usual toys may not be, we don't find it very useful, or they don't find it very catchy. These toys are sensory toys. See, it's a cloth with different texture toys. So it is very easy to have very soothing texture, tactile sensation will be found, and they do register this tactile sensation very, very much. They can even identify us through touching. We can't identify even our parents or a partner by touching or smelling. We do identify them only with a visual sense. We do see them and identify. But these kids, they can touch their parents and identify. They can smell their parents and identify. We don't appreciate their strength. Actually, it's their strength more than a weakness. It's their strength. We don't identify their strength, and on the other way, we do project their demerits every time. So do have in mind that they have different perceptions and different perceptive errors. There are sensory seekers and sensory avoiders. Sensory seekers are more on the Vada Paitika spectrum, and sensory avoiders more on this Vada Kapaja spectrum. Regarding auditory perception, I will say these auditory sensory seekers will be every time tapping on the floor, tapping here, making sound, howling, everything, because they seek more auditory sensation. And the sensory avoiders, they'll keep their ear closed. They don't like that loud sound of the mixie. They don't like the sound of the door being closed. They are sensory avoiders. Every sensory they are many are seekers and many are avoiders. So we should also address such imbalances in this sensory regulation while managing this autistic kids. So there comes the role of sensory integration therapy.
The child is not able to receive the inputs from the environment, or learning through the environment could not be possible because the child will have difficulties in gross motor skills or their fine motor skills, or there could be overlying difficulties in the sensory integration. Sensory integration में different senses का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, जैसे कि movement या touch या फिर pressure, vision and sounds. एक्टिविटीज तरह डिजाइन की जाती हैं जिसमें ये कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं और कुछ मोटर कंपोनेंट्स भी होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, किसी बच्चे को स्विंग करवाना है, किसी बच्चे को एक गेम लर्न करवाना है, तो उस गेम में दोनों सेंसरी और मोटर एस्पेक्ट्स इन्वॉल्व किए जाते हैं. ये जो हम गेम बनाते हैं, ये गेम बहुत डिजाइन होते हैं उनके कंसर्न्स और उनके स्किल्स के अकॉर्डिंग. हम किसी बच्चे को कभी भी ओवर चैलेंज नहीं करना पसंद करते हैं. हम चाहते हैं कि हम उनके स्किल सेट के अकॉर्डिंग हम उनको चैलेंज करें.
This is a very short video about the sensory integration therapy. So we should train them how to utilize our senses, how to interpret as well. How sensory processing disorders are managed in Ayurveda? Surely, most of our procedure-based therapies are managing the sensory processing disorders. Right from the Udvartana, right from the Pautalis Vedas, Kaya Sega, everything we are managing the proprioceptive senses. We are managing this visual senses through our Netra Sega, Tarpana and all. Karna Purana is helping to manage that auditory sensation. Like the Taila we select should determine whether it is which dosha shamana, similar. So sensory processing disorder is well managed with our procedure-based therapy. And one more thing which I had to highlight is, see, this is a Kaya Sega happening in a child. Can you say what's the defect happening here? What's the most erroneous thing which is happening here? Most defective, the big mistake happening here? Can you put it in the chat box? What's the big mistake happening here? See, throughout the baby's treatment, mama is on the mobile. entire treatment, the baby is being unattended, his mama is on the mobile. So, as I told earlier, there is a category called virtual autism where excessive social behavioral issues come when the baby is on excess screen time. Similarly, the managing caretaker should also be very interactive with the child and should not be on the screen time when she is managing a baby. So, Nananasya. Now, Nananasya is another very effective management in ASD because the power of Mananasya in Srodoshodhana of Urtvanga is appreciated very much. So usually Tikshna Dravyas are very much used. Rashnadi Churna is usually used down in our department. We can also use Vilwadi Gudiga in that. Manan is only done once or twice a week, especially in ASD and Kapacha type of ASD and mental retardation. It's very much useful. As I told earlier, Nasya is usually done. The usual Shirabala Nasya, Dhanantara Nasya, Taila, Varanadik Shirakrata, everything is very much helpful. No need to detail that. Similarly, Thubana, the role of Thubana also should be appreciated in clearing out the Srodorota. So, it is like fumigating the room. It's not Thubapana. Fumigating the room with Tigna drugs like the Shanga or Hingu, Daruharidra, Sarshaba, Vacha, and all very powerful. Even you can use Hingwadi Guliga for Thuban. For like smell seekers, we usually ask them to smell putrefied onion in our department because usually certain kids love to have the smell of the fecal matter. So when they poop, they catch it then and there and smell it, and maybe they will be having it internally as food, like having it in the mouth as well. So usually we have to avoid that tendency. Then they will be actually craving for that smell and taste. So provide that smell and taste from something different, similar other things. So Tichna Nasyas and Thubanas are very effective in that. And this putrefied onion peels and these garlic peels are having hydrogen sulfide from that, H2S coming from that, which is having that rotten egg smell. And this Tikshna smell is having very much potential in handling the babies from this seeking other senses like this fecal smell and all. So, or you can use any other Thubana like Vilwadi Thubana. The Vilwadi Thubana is also having the smell of goat's urine in that. Even you can use Panchagavya Krita for Thubana as well. So it is like integrated approach with the medical management, parental training, speech therapy, behavior therapy, occupational therapy, and down music therapy, yoga, and all. Anything and everything which can incorporated in Nitya Abhyasa can be included in our management protocol. So it is like dealing with an autism spectrum disorder is like, see the blank stare of this kid, expressionless face, no eye contact, no feelings, nothing in that face. Turning to a bright smile, naughty face within one or two treatments and maintaining that even after long years. Now he is almost 20 years having his normal education and still, so it is like it's not impossible to have step out of this spectrum. It's possible with this combined approach. So comes the role of this Ayurveda. This is a public Snehatara is a public health initiative from our department for the last 10 years. Now we are running the 11th year. This is a funded program, Snehatara. So it's like a Dhara of Sneha. Actually, it is similar to a Taila Dhara. It's like a Dhara of Sneha. It's a funded project funded by the District Panchayat of Trivandrum, coordinated by our department. Apart from the IP facility in our department, we are having 4 satellite centers as well. So we do conduct regular camps every year in all these centers, and which the participants or parents are invited to be with their kids for a medical screening. We do select them, and we have a specialty ward for that, and also a Bala Panchakarma theatre adapted to serve these kids, and also a multidisciplinary therapy center working along with us, which speech therapist, physiotherapist, then occupation therapist, behavior therapist, and a remedial educator. So it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. This is our health minister. We publish the documents, do the statistical evaluation, and they publish the documents every year. There's the camps being conducted. And finally, this is the statistical evaluation of these kids handled over last 10 years. We had been handling 342 kids in this project alone. Other than that, department is handling more than 5,000 kids. Like it's not like every kid. In this project, we do statistical evaluation because we have to produce it before the funding agency for that next funding. So making an improvement in percentage in 12 to 13 percentage with every treatment, every 2 or 3 month treatment, making a significant difference in their autism score and in the quality of life. So see the difference, you can see.
Kailase,
So this is a kit
Kailase, Kailendada,
having a stereotype movements, avoiding eye contact, that sensory, auditory, sensory seeking tapping. When the doctor is asking, he is not replying or he is not understanding. The receptive language is erroneous. The doctor is taking out the toy from his, he is not getting irritated. He is okay with that. Then he is going for hand flapping. Just he needs a stereotypic behavior, that alone.
Kailase, Kailase, ഇവിടെ അമ്മമ്മ എവിടെ അമ്മമ്മ കാണാനില്ലല്ലോ
See, the doctor is asking many questions. He is not understanding or regarding.
വീഴും അമ്മമ്മ എവിടെ പോയി
This is after
ടാറ്റാ
one course of treatment.
ടാറ്റാ
Eye contact is being established.
ബസ്സിലാണോ
The social smile is developing.
ബസ്സിലാണോ പോകുന്നേ ഓട്ടോ ഇല്ല ടാറ്റാ ടാറ്റാ കൈലാസ ടാറ്റാ ടാറ്റ പറയാണ്ടിക്ക് ബൈ 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 ബൈ
Yes, just learn to wave bye bye, but it's not coming every time.
സ്പെല്ലിംഗ് പറഞ്ഞേ
This is after 2 courses of treatment.
ബോളിന്റെ
2 more courses, that is after 3 courses of treatment. Now he is in a normal school, included in the normal education system, very equated with academic capacities, social behavior, and everything. So, see, he can narrate the spelling of any word he can ask, and he is very prompt.
എഗ്
So, coming out of ASD is not impossible, but an integration from every part, if the baby is lucky enough, or we are lucky enough to provide that complete package, including everything, he can easily come out of that spectrum. And
സ്പെല്ലിംഗ് പറഞ്ഞേ
so it is like having, I was trying to point out certain important things in the autism management. I do acknowledge that the time is very limited. and it's inefficient to share it completely. But I would like to have your queries to be addressed in this Q&A section. So let us give a helping hand towards this enigmatic disease and let the world look high on the capacity or capability of Ayurveda in handling these kids with ASD. So thanking you for the patient here.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a valuable and informative session. You have navigated through the complexities of autism spectrum disorder from its etiology to the practicalities of modern care with remarkable depth. Most importantly, you have detailed the Ayurvedic treatment protocols with such clarity and precision. It is truly inspiring, ma'am. Your clinical insights have given us all a fresh perspective to take back to our practices. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Delegates, we now open the floor for the interactive session. You may post your queries in the chat box, or if you prefer to speak directly, please unmute your mic and ask your questions.
Dr. Raju sir has raised his hand. Sir, namaste sir. You can please unmute yourself and please share your insights on this. Yes, sir, please.
Good informative, right? So my question is that
Thank you.
in the mild to moderate autism, there is a course of treatment you told me. The course means how many days should be taken, and can convince to the parents how much percentage of improvement can get by taking this much this
Yeah. Usually we do target for only one course initially, because convincing the parents, when every time they search for the net, they see that it's an incurable diseases and they are actually very poorly motivated. So we do instruct them regarding the diet they have to follow, regarding that exercise they have to adopt, and we do have a very thorough evaluation of the child in the initial phase. And we do give a gut correction or Deepana Pachana drugs as a OP basis. We don't plan for an initial admission. We do plan for an admission IP management only after having the Agni correction, or even if Mrudu Shodhana also we do it in the OP. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
I think
Oh, about future.
yeah. So only after completing the Deepana Pachana and with the Srodha Shodhana, we do admit the baby in the IP. And depending upon the severity of the disease and also the age of the baby, usually the treatment time we need is like somewhere around 5 to 5 weeks to 8 weeks. Somewhere around 1 to 2 months what we need. Usually parents are highly convinced by the result which they get from the Deepana Pachana phase itself. So milder procedure-based therapies like talam or nasal instillation will be started from that time itself. So within a period of 1 month of OP treatment, they will find the differences. And we will train the parents to have an evaluation every time with the ATEC, that is parental evaluation checklist form, so that they do get convinced with the changes thereof. And while evaluating with the ATEC, they do get accustomed, or they do have a knowledge of the further goals also, how they should go for. And the therapists along with us, they do teach how to be the therapies to be done at home. So mama is actually occupied and she is finding positive results every day by day. So with one course of treatment, if it's a mild to moderate autism, we can make a change of usually a score difference of 3 to 4 points in a CAS score. But if it's a very severe autism with a CAS score above 45 or something like that, the difference CAS score will get reduced, but still the baby won't be having a speech and language in English. So the initially we'll be targeting socialization skills alone, and then second phase into the receptive language, and only in the third phase we target the expressive language. So that is how we plan it.
How your experience? The last question.
Yes, sir.
The percentage of your treatment is a when people come to the mainstream is percentage what percentage of mainstream they came with.
Yeah, mild to moderate cases, the percentage touching the mainstream with 2 or 3 courses are more than 25%, sir. With in mild to moderate, not with one course of treatment, like touching the mainstream with 2 or 3 courses of treatment. It's like somewhere like 20 to 25%. But severe cases, the chance of touching the normalcy is bit bleak, sir. We can reduce the severity. It's not, we can't like say that we can't touch the normalcy. And we don't promise anything in any category of kids, sir. We do the treatment and say that you should follow such and such protocols. We don't promise anything for any disease, sir, because making a promise to treat such disease is not ethically correct as well. So the parents do experience the changes, and they do have the hope and a positive attitude towards life.
Thank you, madam. Thanks,
Thank you, sir, for the interaction. It's very like fulfilling or satisfying to see the eminent scholars in our platform.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, the comorbidities like ADHD, learning disabilities are common in children like with ASD. Like we get to know about the comorbidities from the previous sessions too. Ma'am, my question is, does these comorbidities occur as complications, or is there any evidence of shared physiological or metabolical mechanisms underlying the etiological overlap between ASD and its common comorbidities?
Yeah, very nice question. Usually, in certain cases, ADHD, it's not in certain. More than 50%, 50 to 60% of the cases, this hyperactivity is usual comorbidity of ASD. Metabolic errors are a main etiology behind both these diseases. So the treatment won't be contradictory in addressing both these conditions at the same time. So I was trying to say that the scope of Chigilsa Vairuthyam won't be there. We can address both these at the same time. But it's better if it's on the Pythika spectrum with a hyperactivity or tantrums. It's better to address the tantrums first and then address the social behavioral issues, because when the Pitta Bhava is more, the behavioral issues it is causing due to these tantrums and impaired speech, sleep rhythms will be much more. If you address it initially with any Shamana Aushadas or procedure therapies like Mrudu Virechana or Talam or Shirolepa, you can make the baby more socially, more suited to the social fabric. So they can address the other socialization issues more easily. You can parallelly address both the issues because the etiology of both these are majorly similar, though the symptomatology is having a bit different, and we do include in under 2 diseases, but usually the management protocols go parallel. So I don't feel any issue in managing such diseases.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, Dhumapanam is already contraindicated for children. So, Dhumapanam is considered as a Paschat Karma for Shirodhara, and it is appropriate and safe to perform Dhumapanam in children after Shirodhara. Ma'am, is it possible?
Yeah, Dhumapana is usually contraindicated in younger kids. So the perfect Dhupana as per classical literature like ingesting the fumes, deep inhaling the fumes and all is, and usually the kids won't do that. So I don't do it practically in kids. Instead, thupana is very much done in these kids. Do fumigate the room or do fumigate the surrounding while where the baby is sitting, so that in due course the baby is also inhaling the fumes. So instead of thupana, thumapana, instead of thumapana, thupanam is usually done. And thupanam is very effective if it's done with Tikshna drugs. So after Shirodhara also, thupanam can be done instead of thumapana.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Ma'am, we have one question in the chat box.
Okay.
What practical modifications and stepwise strategies do you recommend to successfully integrate a gluten-free, casein-free diet in children?
Yeah, GFCF diet or gluten-free, casein-free diet. Finally, that modern stream is also advising pathya in a disease. I am happy to learn that. They are also recognizing the importance of acne or gut in the disease causation. So it is like they are also identifying that it's not the gut which is faulty. It's not only the gut is faulty, that food is also causing an error. So in spite of that gut error, this food is also causing an error. So they are trying to cut the Guru Ahara. So according to them, they are searching for foods which are scientifically or evidently causing a metabolic error. So they have successfully identified with the gluten and casein. So which, as I said earlier, is causing semi-metabolites or indigested morphine-like structures. So we are not only behind GFCF diet. We are cutting out all Guru Ahara. This casein, milk protein, I do also cut out from the food. It is like cutting down all milk proteins, like milk, curd, paneer, cheese, everything I do cut down. And also the chocolates, everything made out of white flour, I do cut out. But I have seen that if the milk is being processed very much with Vibana drugs, it can be given. It's not causing much issues. But usually I don't, the parents won't be so insisting on that. If someone is insisting and the child needs a milk, I do advise them to process with drugs like Musta or Nagara. Otherwise, I do advise to skip it. And apart from that, heavy proteins like cashew nut, groundnut, pista, badam is also cut down from the diet. I do advise them to slash all white, everything preserved, flavored, tinned and packed. So Lekhu Ahara especially, and I do advise them to cut down or reduce the intake of tubers, kanda, that is potato, carrot, radish. So everything, these tubers, I do reduce the amount of intake. Instead of that, I do advise them to have valli valas like cucumber, ash gourd, like valli valas. I do advise vegetables more to have. I haven't seen much issues with fish, light fishes or white meat. Instead, I have seen issues with the red meat. So I do usually advise them to cut out the red meat. And usually the shellfish also I do advise them to restrict. And actually the quantity of food also I restrict. Not only the quality, I do have an eye on the quantity as well. And the timing also, I frame it in such a way that the quantity and quality is also kept under control. When the child is having a munching attitude, I do advise salads made out of this cucumber and even the popcorn, which is very lekku, or laja. I do advise snackers. Lacha processed in this bit of sugar and what you call uh, ginger. We call it as in Kerala. We call it as malarinji. It is like a sweet snacker. As the lacha is very liquid and only a very bit of sugar and also ginger is that it actually even though it serves as a snacker, it's very liquid. Similar light snackers are also incorporated in the diet. So it's a planning of the diet for each and every kid, depending upon their lifestyle and his Agnimatya. So it's not, we shouldn't restrict our view to GFCF diet alone. I think we should think in a broader platform. Hope it is clear.
Ma'am, I think the questions are over. Thank you, ma'am, for clarifying our doubts.
Okay, ma'am.
As we
It's very kind. It's very thank for your cheer vibrant presentation. Always your presentation is like that. It's not new for hours. So it's a scientific depth of knowledge and the concept of dhatu. All are well